campaigning going on out there. I'm sorry. It's all good. Yep.
All right.
Good to go.
Awesome. So what I was going to get you to do, if you could just do the zooming, so like when people are talking.
Okay.
So like when they're talking at the podium, you just be like zoomed in on whoever the moderator is. Yeah, this is zooming in, and this is zooming out, and then you can turn it through this way.
Okay.
And then this little thing right here lets you go up and down. So if you have, so if there's like a shorter candidate or something like that, you need to move up or down, or taller person, that will help you. And then you can just zoom in when they're talking, then just kind of move it around.
Okay.
If you don't mind just doing that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's it.
Where should I?
You can just leave it, like usually we just put it right there, hang it right there. It's gonna may probably fall off, but as long as you, that should be good.
Okay. Awesome.
And if you have any problems, do you have my number?
No.
Alright, I'll give you my number, tell me when you're ready. I'll keep an eye on it during just doing our editorial meeting with the news team, so I'll keep my eye on it. So if there's any issues or anything, I'll come up and help. But just feel free to text me. My number is 391 8146.
So what should I do when it's done?
When it's done, usually right when it's done, I just do, all you need to do is just close it and just leave it playing because we have the SGA Senate meeting. And I'll come,
Okay.
So I'll come up here, just the SGA Senate meeting, we don't do video, we just do audio, so just make sure it's closed.
Right.
There's probably going to be like a 5 or 10 minutes in between, but I'll come up here and just open the SGA meeting because I don't want to make you stay up.
Okay. That's fine.
All right. But yeah, if any issues, just send me.
Thank you.
No problem.
My Fridays are fine.
Sick. I love it. I love getting all this game.
I like to go out of my way, so. So you take a photo for it?
Langston?
Yeah, I went down it. I would have been right up here earlier, but I had to grab this one because I know when it gets on lights off. Mine? Always. Either way, it's still darker.
This is the first time I've done this. On a song.
I can cover you.
Point to a lot sitting around.
Or walking around getting a view.
This journalism.
It's like, hey, I have an event. I don't even know who the candidates are. All we know is the
That's how you get good journalism.
Oh yeah, the thing is, she was a journalist, and the funny thing is, there were like a bunch of like letter blocks in there, and we didn't realize like what we need or realize block.
Wow. Is he running?
No, I think it's done. I think they were just thanking him for the. Yeah, he gave it up. She brought up some. It was really all in rap. First, how long have you been doing Hawaii?
Kanan achieved pretty good things in college. Have you gotten into a basketball game yet? Or not yet?
I did an SGA meeting last week, and now
War Eagle. Hey everybody, my name is Bree Thomas, and this year I have the incredible honor of serving as the Executive Director of Elections for the Student Government Association. Welcome to the 2019 Student Government Association debate. Over the course of tonight, we will hear from the candidates seeking to lead the student body for the next year. Tonight's event will be separated into two parts. First, we will hear from our Miss Auburn candidates. During this section, the candidates who all will be supporters, you will be permitted to cheer for your candidate before and after they are done speaking. The speaking order for all candidates tonight was determined by a random drawing when the candidates arrived this evening. After the Miss Auburn candidates, we will hear from our other major candidates. First, you will hear from treasurers, then vice presidents, and then presidential candidates as they present an opening statement and then are asked a series of questions and given the chance to respond as well as rebut their opponents. These questions have not been approved or shared with any campaign, and the debate will end with each candidate having the opportunity to give a closing statement. Before we begin, I'd like to share some information about your ballot. Tomorrow, you will not only be voting on major candidates, you'll also be voting on the minor candidates, and that includes the school's council president and vice president of every college and school, and the senators for each of the colleges and school as well. And you will also be voting on two constitutional amendments to the Student Government Association Constitution, and you can find more information about major and minor candidates and the constitutional amendments on the SGA website. You'll also be voting on a final election professor tomorrow as well. We're really excited to have you here, and please join me in welcoming to the stage Miss Auburn, Catherine Kennedy. Basically, when we decide to be people of integrity and demonstrate character, we build trust and strong relationships. And in those relationships, we have influence. And when we leverage that influence, the communities that we're placed in, we have impact. And one by one, as lives change, communities change. And that's what I love about this platform, is just the opportunity to speak life more than the individual. Because we're saying you don't have to be someone of power or status to have influence. Just by existing, you have impact on lives. And we never know the extent of that impact to those around us. And that's what this is about. It's about something so much bigger than a title. It's about making sure that people know that they matter and showing up for the Auburn family that we all know and love. Now, as your next Miss Auburn, I can promise I'm not going to be perfect. But I can promise that I am ready to serve and lead with humility. I have the experience in a lot of diverse campus organizations that prepares me to understand who the student body is so I can best represent it. And I'm so excited to continue to pour into the Auburn family that we all know and love. So I humbly ask tomorrow that you will join with our team in sharing this message, because people need us to show up. People need to know that they matter. So multiply with Maddie this week, because you're the one that makes a change, and you're the one that makes a difference. Thank you so much. Next we have Kate Worston. War Eagle, y'all. My name is Kate Dorston, and I have the absolute privilege of being one of your top 5 candidates for Miss Auburn. This week, I focused on the line of the creed, I believe in a sound mind, and a sound body, and a spirit that's not afraid, and in clean sports that develop these qualities. Each day on the concourse, we've asked students to come and speak with us about why those traits are important to them and how they go about maintaining them. Each day, we've gotten to see different sides of Auburn, the different pieces, and how they all fit together to create a fantastic Auburn family that we all know and love. As we've learned from each other this week, we've all learned new things and had some fantastic personal development happening. With that personal development, we leave Auburn with a new confidence that is unlike any other, and that will take us far. far beyond the university years, but something we can look fondly upon the Auburn family with as we step into our new jobs, new families, whatever life may give us. So I want to inspire y'all to continue to share with each other on why a sound mind, a sound body, and a spirit that is not afraid is important to you, and that you'll collaborate with me, Kate Dorston, tomorrow. Thank you so much for your time. Next is Laura Davenport.
War Eagle, y'all. My name is Laura Davenport, and I'm absolutely honored to be standing in front of you today. This opportunity is one that I never thought I would have the privilege of having. This week, I have focused on a line of the creed, not that I think I embody best, but that I strive to improve upon daily. I've chosen the line from the creed, I believe in honesty and truthfulness, without which I cannot win the respect and confidence of my fellow men. I've chosen this line because I think it's important when we relate it to how we relate to others around us. First of all, it's important that we're honest with ourselves about how we treat people who might be from different walks of life than we are. Inclusiveness and diversity on our campus start with our day-to-day conversations with our peers and colleagues. I also believe it's important that we're truthful with the people around us. My first couple semesters at Auburn, I was convinced that I had to convince everyone else around me that I had it all together and that everything was great all the time. Truth is, it wasn't. And it wasn't until I was truthful with the people around me that I built those deep, lasting relationships that I've been looking for the entire time. Finally, I think it's important that we redefine fellow men. Not that there's anything wrong with fellow men as it's written in the creed, but that fellow men is more than it used to be when George Petrie wrote it. I'm proud to be a part of a university that's moving towards redefining what that looks like. It's been an absolute privilege to spend time on the concourse this week, getting to know people all across campus from all facets of life. I hope that you guys decide on Davenport tomorrow. Thank you for your time.
Our next candidate is Macy Armstrong.
Hello guys, my voice is going, so I'm really glad I have this mic, so just bear with me. But thank y'all so much for just coming out and being here, for all your candidates. It really does mean so much to us. And like Catherine said, my name is Macy Armstrong, and I'm so absolutely humbled to be a top 5 candidate for Miss Auburn this week. So with that being said, the line of the creed that I chose to embody this week is, I believe in the human touch. When choosing this line, I thought about all the memories and experiences that define me as an Auburn woman, an Auburn friend, and an Auburn leader. With that being said, I chose 3 core values of social work that I wanted to exemplify through this role. The dignity and worth of all individuals, service and importance of human relationships were where I wanted to set my place in. I'm a volunteer with an organization called Brave Hearts, which works with kids with moderate to severe disabilities. And in all transparency, I was so afraid to start that journey. That can be an organization that is not that comfortable with everyone, and sometimes you have to get comfortable being uncomfortable, and that is my testimony to the dignity and worth of all individuals. But that doesn't just go for Brave Hearts, that goes for being a peer, being a mentor, being a student worker, to being a member on this campus. All these things that embody those qualities are what I want to do as your next Miss Auburn. Thank you so much.
Our last Miss Auburn candidate tonight is Kennedy McGee.
War Eagle, y'all. My name is Kennedy McGee, and I'm absolutely thrilled and honored and excited to be standing here with y'all today to share a little bit about who I am and how I can best enhance the role of Miss Auburn. I value education, and I'm so passionate about education. I've become even more so during my time here at Auburn. So for these reasons, my creed stanza is, I believe in education, which gives me the knowledge to work wisely and trains my mind and my hands to work skillfully. You can count on me to be an advocate for education, specifically in Auburn education for all students. So that includes local students, out-of-state students, international students, students who come from lower socioeconomic backgrounds, transfer students, students with disabilities. My passion and desire is for all of these students to be able to see Auburn as home and one day call it home. Receiving an education truly is a privilege that we should never take for granted. One way that I feel that we can do this for minority students is to really take a really long and hard look at how we're recruiting these students to our university. Are we going out to the places in the areas and the high schools that they are at? Are we showing them what we have to offer here at Auburn? Do they have the funds to come? Do they have the means to come? Do they have the resources to come to our university? So this is just one area where my heart is. My heart is in so many other places for the students that I've mentioned today. So throughout this, or tomorrow, I do hope that you all consider what I've said, you think about what I've said tonight, and do consider me to be your next Miss Auburn because you truly can count on me. Thank you.
Now then, Walk will come up and introduce the treasurer candidates.
Morning, everyone. My name is Dave Block, and it's been an absolute honor and privilege to serve you guys as your SGA president this past year. Now it's a new phase of life, and so I would like to call up the treasurer candidates up to the stage. 100, you may begin with your opening remarks.
War Eagle, and good evening. My name is Hunter Short, and over the past couple weeks, I've had the honor and privilege of sharing my platform and vision for Auburn University treasurer position. If you haven't gotten to talk to me or any of my campaign staff, a little bit about my platform. It is one overarching idea with 3 supporting goals behind that. And the overall idea of this campaign is the Auburn student. I want to represent each Auburn student, whether they've been involved their entire time here, all the way to graduate student, or they just walked on campus. And I'll do that through 3 ways. First, by having an open door policy. Second, by creating budget transparency and having student input on the allocation of funds to organizations. And finally, by increasing financial literacy on campus.
Hey guys, my name is Avi Galati. I'm a junior majoring in software engineering with a minor in finance, and I think I'd make a great SGA treasurer this coming year for the fall for 3 reasons. First, I have extensive experience in SGA. I currently serve as the Assistant Vice President of Finance. I previously served as a Balfour Ring Ambassador, and over the last 2 years I've served as a member of the Lobby Board. This experience gives me the skills and connections necessary to run the finance branch smoothly and effectively. Second, I want to use my position to further financial literacy. So over the last year, one of the tasks I've done as Assistant Vice President of Finance is researching and looking into how different schools implement their financial literacy programs. I want to build upon that this year by working with the administration to exploring opening an Office of Financial Literacy with a lot of different resources I don't have time to talk about now. My third point is sustainability. So over the last summer, I worked with Students for Carbon Dividends, and in my role as a team leader, I worked with researchers from Yale to discuss how to make universities more sustainable. I want to use that experience and those connections to.
All right, now we'll begin with the first question. This one's for you, Hunter. What will be your priorities when advocating for how student activity fees should be allocated, and specifically, how will you ensure that they're spent responsibly?
So I think the first thing to do, Dan, would be to go back and review our historic spending. Because there is a lot that you can tell from data analytics, and I've learned that through my time in internships, that we can go and we can look at spending from the past with different organizations from different sizes. After that, we can create a plan moving forward, different experiences, not just my own, working with the AVP of Finance, Budget and Finance Committee, and the rest of SGA, to figure out where that allocation needs to go, and ultimately asking students where they think that money needs to go. So I want to take the funding, possibly expand the O fund, because we have a lot of different organizations on campus, and a lot of those are small organizations that feel that they're underrepresented. So I want to fight for more money for those organizations, because I believe that organizations grow best, and people grow best in the smaller groups that they are in. I know that small groups I'm in with my guys have helped me grow a lot and build my character, and I want to fight for that for everybody else. But I realize that bigger organizations can reach a lot more people, and we want to fight for funding for those too. UPC does a great job of putting on events that are inclusive to everybody. So I want to fight to make sure that we're looking at historic spending and need for the future, and really making sure that we're effective and efficient in how we budget and spend our money. Because the student dollar is very important, and each of y'all pay that student activity fee, and you deserve to know where your money goes, why it goes there, and how it's spent.
But you will now have 1 minute to rebuttal that.
So I think Hunter's points are great. I think some of the other things I want to do to help make sure budgets are done transparently and effectively. Currently, budget is allocated by the Budget and Finance branch of the Senate, and the SGA Cabinet Finance branch, AVP and Director of Financial Projects, are kind of separate from it. And I want to really help incorporate the Cabinet and the Budget and Finance Committee and help them use the Directors of Financial Projects and the Assistant Vice President of Finance to more effectively help them almost review individual organizations, because the Budget and Finance Committee itself can't really review everything themselves. Further, I also want to make the SGA Finance Branch more of a resource to other organizations, organizations that are in the organization's budget, as well as UPC, ISO, and helping use SGA as a resource to help them better allocate their funds and spend them more effectively.
All right, the second question is for you, Abby. How will you ensure that registered student organizations have adequate funding this year?
All right, so I think the registered students organization, currently SGA and the administration has done great making sure that any club that really wants to be funded better and have more resources has those resources. And I think some ways we can help improve that is, like I was saying before, with having SGA become more of a resource for other organizations on campus. So whether it's the wakeboarding team asking, hey, how can we, we're not going to be able to get that much money, but how can we use the funds we have to spend them effectively and market ourselves correctly, because SGA has just more resources and more experience with it. A few other ways to do it, I think publishing, we currently already publish most of these spending reports online, but just making sure that those kinds of things are published regularly, that students know where to find these kinds of things, students can know which organizations are getting what money, and maybe even having all the organizations having a centralized source online to have their budgets posted. Yeah, that would be it.
You have 1 minute to read that.
Sweet. So I think that Auburn has a great amount of resources right now, and I think the SGA can pull from a lot of those. So the College of Business does a great job at preparing its students in financial literacy, and I think we could help out a lot with the clubs too. Like Avi said, organizations want to know how to effectively and efficiently spend their money. So it might be good to get a group
with all of Hunter's suggestions. Some other things I wanted to talk about financial literacy. So in the past, Auburn has struggled compared to competing schools in financial literacy metrics, just showing students access to knowing about budgeting, saving for retirement, etc. And some of the ways that I researched about this year from Indiana University, University of South Florida, some of the resources they offer is they have an Office of Financial Literacy that has things like peer counselors, so you have professional people apply to be counselors and you get trained and are able to advise other students, and that's essentially, and that can essentially be an on-campus job for some students. As well as they have things like videos, podcasts, seminars, like Hart was talking about. And some other things we want to do is, instead of necessarily making our own Office of Financial Literacy, harnessing our third-party financial literacy courses that are already available online and marketing them to students better.
Aubrey, this last question is for you. How do you plan to increase the amount of revenue generated by SGA this year?
So most of SGA, I believe most of SGA's revenue currently comes from the Balfour Ring program, and there's a lot of room for growth there compared to school. Clemson, I believe, has almost over 100% of a student buying rings, right? Texas A&M has a massive ring tradition that it wasn't started that long ago. And so Auburn really has an opportunity here to make a ring program tradition that can really last a long time and be a major source of revenue for SGA. And some ways that we can do that is simply increasing the funding given to the Balfour program for marketing, having more, making sure we emphasize it at Camp War Eagle sessions, at all orientation sessions, all tours, really just talking about the ring and kind of building that foundation for future students to believe that that ring is like Auburn tradition. I just want to continue on the efforts we've made over the last 2 years to make the ring tradition a lasting and permanent source of revenue for SGA and for the students.
Hunter, you now have 1 minute for your rebuttal.
So, as always said, Balfour is one of the main revenue streams for SGA. And I completely agree. I think we need to increase the marketing funds for Balfour, but I don't think we need to stop there. One of the things I learned in supply chain is that these companies have a supply chain, and basically this is where they get all of their parts, where they get the metals for the rings, the stones, stuff like that. So I would actually want to work with Balfour to kind of work with their supply chain, make sure that we're getting the best quality product at the lowest cost. So we don't need to raise the price on these rings. While we can increase marketing, we can also go behind the scenes, cut costs, increase quality, and then come back and have more profit on the backside of the ring. This would increase some of the revenue for SGA, and I believe that's a great way to do it. I've talked with some of the current Balfour ring ambassadors, and they really do want to see some growth in this program so we can get more funding for SGA, and ultimately fund more organizations after that.
All right, you each will have 1 minute for your closing statements, starting with you, Hunter.
So I'd just like to thank you all for coming out again. It means a lot to me. I know it means a lot to Avi and all the other candidates to see our shirts, to see people here, and then honestly to see people who aren't in our shirts, people that want to learn more about what we're trying to do with SGA to promote and unify you. So to recap, we talked about financial literacy, how we're going to change that and make it better. We talked about revenue and a couple other things, and ultimately we're here for you. We're here to represent you. So with that, if you are looking for a good treasurer candidate, one that's going to work hard every day and serve you, say with Short this week and vote Hunter Short tomorrow from 7 to 7.
So just to kind of tell you a little more about myself, almost don't want to tell you about my platform again. I'm sure you've all heard it or read about it. I've always challenged myself, always taken pride that I get out of my comfort zones, and try new things, meet new people, and I think that's the kind of fundamental building block of who I am. And I think that's what's led me to be involved with SGA, because it lets me meet a lot of different people. It's why I'm involved in other clubs like FMA, the Be Well Hut. And I just think that my personal philosophy really drives me to always be out there ready to learn. And I would just love this opportunity to be your SGA treasurer, because I think it'll be a great opportunity for me to grow, and I think I will serve you with all my heart and all my might. And I think Hunter's a great candidate. If you want a great candidate, you can pick either of us. But I hope you count on Avi this week. So, for Eagle.
All right, next we will hear from the vice president candidates. So, all right, you both will have 1 minute for your opening remarks, starting with Carlos.
Good evening, everybody. So, like I said, my name is Carlos Smith. I'm running for SGA VP, and I want to be your next SGA VP. So, I'm thankful to have this opportunity to share a little bit about my platform, what I'm passionate about over this next couple of days or so. I've had a blast this week, and I really want to show that I really care about student ideals and what's important to them, because that's what's ultimately important to me. So, I've really been blessed to have this opportunity. I didn't know if I'd make it up here, but now I am, and I want to take advantage of it. So, thank you for being here. If there's anything you need, just let me know. Once again, thank you for coming out tonight.
All right. E pluribus unum, or out of many, one. So, where are you all? My name is Riley Hambrick, and it's an absolute honor to be a candidate for your SGA Vice President. My goal for New Heights is to re-examine our understanding of representation. And so, when you look across Auburn, you see different cultures, different ethnicities, different experiences, different states, all combined into one student body and one Auburn family. So, like I said, it's my goal to re-examine how we define our representation and what that means for us, and how the role of the vice president can take on those new roles and ultimately take Auburn to new heights. That's the goal of my platform, and also to add on to that, it is the heart and the passion behind my campaign. Thank you for your time.
All right, at this time we'll begin questions. Just because, as a reminder, you'll have 1 minute and 30 seconds. So, Riley, this first question is for you. This past year, Senate liaisons were introduced in order to better represent organizations on campus. What is your vision for the future of these roles?
Yeah, so that's actually one of my platform points as well. This is an idea that was introduced by sitting Vice President Bernie. And I think it was a phenomenal idea simply because oftentimes what you see is senators voting on legislation for organizations that they've never been a part of nor never experienced. And so it is my goal and my platform to expand these roles so we also encompass the SAPs or the major organizations across campus. So whether that be AUD or UPC, that way we can have an understanding of when we're examining budgets, for example, what cutting $1,000 or $200,000 from UPC budget, and what that entails for them, because that is so significant. So I think, like I said, I think this was a great idea, and I want to continue expanding it simply for the idea of representation. Because if we want to encompass representation for all, then we need to understand the weight of the things that we vote on as senators. So.
Carlos, you have 1 minute for your vote.
Right, so he spoke on briefly about Skylar's idea of getting more liaisons in, and I hope to expand that as I have my time over this next term. One thing I want to do is each senator within Senate is assigned to a committee. There are 5, which is academic affairs,
minute.
Yeah, so I'd say that a very solid strength of our Senate is the fact that our senators are elected by the student body from their respective colleges. And so if they are to be representative of the student body, then their duty is to fulfill that representation and not to have their opinions or not to share their biases throughout that, and especially throughout their legislation. But a thing that I do think could be improved upon is how often we debate, because oftentimes what you see is when we're in the Senate meetings and going through it, when there's a lot of stuff on the floor, we kind of roll our eyes or drag our feet, or when there's a lot of debate, we're like, we kind of like huff and puff and whatnot. But ultimately, like, that is what we should strive for. We should strive for debate because it is ultimately the goal to represent our students to the best of our ability. If it's through debate, then let it be through debate. But our students deserve the best, and in my opinion, that is how it's accomplished. And so that is something that I do think could be improved upon. But yeah, so.
All right, Riley, this next question is for you. With more than 30,000 students now at Auburn, how will you ensure that the Senate is able to represent and engage the voice of all Auburn students with only 34 senators?
That's a good question. One for many reasons. But something that has just recently happened is the reallocation of seats. So whether seats can expand or it grows smaller due to the size of their university or through the size of their school, I think we should continue this because for example, College of Liberal Arts, we expanded to another seat because we took on the flight program. And so this is ultimately the best way to continue that representation, to ensure that every 30,000 voices, every single one of those voices are heard. And so if we have to find another room to conduct our Senate meetings, then we'll find another room. But when you look at the legislative process and our senators for the U.S. Congress, this is exactly what you see too, especially with our representatives, even though each senator is accounted for 2 per state, but we should adapt to more representative things so we allocate more seats to the more students or to the amount of students.
Carlos, you have a minute.
Right, so basically this past year, some may know I actually was not in Senate, I was a cabinet member, and you never know what can be sparked if you attend a meeting. That's why I ultimately became to run for this position. I attended the Senate meeting, and now look where I am, I'm trying to be the leader of Senate. So one thing I want to do is really try to promote to the student body, not just, obviously I've spoken to liaisons multiple times, but to the general student body on how much this can be important and how important our judicial process is in terms of updating and adjusting anything that we have to do on campus is very important. So I hope that I can try to expand as much as possible to the general population to attend the meetings. As long as he said, if we have to get another room, we can just have Senate out here and just have as many people as we need to. But I hope that I can try to get it as a more normal thing, not just for people within SGA, but outside of it as well.
Thank you. All right, this last question is for Carlos. If elected, what would be your first step to equip your senators in their role?
So I kind of spoken a little bit about the transition materials a little bit. So I know we go through a thing at the end of each term is making sure that all of our senators are meeting with old senators as well. And like I said, I feel like if we can get that started as quickly as possible, then that would be perfect. Me working with Sitting Vice President Skylar Burney as much as possible as well to make sure that I'm equipped, because I know, as I said, so many look at it as a disadvantage that I was not in Senate before this or prior to this. But I feel like it's really an advantage in my favor because I can bring new ideas to the table that I've seen that can be adjusted this past year. So working throughout myself, not because I know I have to make sure I'm prepared enough to prepare others. I'm dedicated to make sure that I can read through the transition material. Box is a great, I don't want to get into box, I guess, but box is a great tool that we got adjusted this past year. So hopefully making sure everyone knows how to work that website and knowing as much as we can in terms of what's going to be in our future. That's what I'm looking forward to. So.
Okay, great. So something that Vice President Burney and another Senator, Sierra Bostic, something that they've been working on is actually a new PowerPoint that seeks to lay out the process of what being a senator looks like more efficiently and a bit more clearly.
opportunity to run for this position. Through this past week, really months, I've been preparing for this. I've really gotten to realize how special of a place Auburn is. It's a place of opportunity that is unmatched and happiness for sure. So I love meeting everybody I've met. I'm not going to stop here. I just hope I can just be your next SGA Vice President and make sure I can be dedicated to what I truly care about. So like I said, if you ever need anything, just let me know, and I hope you can call on me to be your next SGA Vice President.
Alright, so when you look at my platform, there are three things. First is redefining representation, second is summer synod, and then the third thing is revisiting roles. This is my platform, yes, but something that I want to add on to, in addition to this, is ultimately what we think of when we think of representation, because ultimately life is hard. Life is absolutely hard, and our students go through things that they never speak about, things that they never share, and we never understand the things that our students are going through, that our fellow brothers and sisters are going through. And so if we can find a way to hear their voice and actually encourage listening, encourage understanding and respect for diversity and ideas and just the array of differences that we all have, if we can incorporate that, then Auburn will be taken to new heights, and I encourage all of you to take Auburn to new heights with us this week. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Alright, the last part of this evening will include hearing from your presidential candidates. So at this time, will y'all please join us on stage. As we said all tonight, you all have 1 minute for your opening remarks, starting with Daniel Calhoun.
Alright, I wanted to start off with everything by just saying thank you guys for coming out tonight. I know you guys have been hearing a lot of speeches tonight, so I just really do appreciate you guys taking the time out of your night to come look and listen to all of the candidates. So yes, my name is Daniel Calhoun, and I'm honored to be sharing the stage with two of my friends. It's a surreal moment. This past week has been incredible. I have really enjoyed annoying people in the concourse with miscellaneous gimmicks and food items. But in all seriousness, I've really enjoyed talking about my platform to the student body as well. My platform includes inclusion and diversity on campus, efficiency throughout campus, and SGA collaboration. But anybody can come up here and state what needs to be changed with Auburn. In my opinion, the most important part of anybody's platform is recognizing whether or not the goals and initiatives that the candidate is saying is achievable throughout the year. I'm confident that my 3 platform points have the ability to propel this year very far. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Mary Margaret Turton, and it is an absolute honor to stand before you seeking to serve as your next student government president. I want to thank each of you for coming out tonight and caring about the future of Auburn and listening to the hard work that each of us has put into our platforms, because we truly do want to enhance the student experience for all students. Learning about so many different student stories this past week on the concourse and just in conversations with students has really solidified why I would be so honored to serve as student government president. My platform is tangible and inclusive to all students, and it targets campus life, innovation, and wellness. I believe that the tenets of the Auburn Creed represent timeless values to which we are all committed. Those that will guide us into our best days, which I truly believe are before us. So I hope you'll join with me this week in targeting these platform points.
Where y'all, my name is Brooks Jones. I've had the incredible opportunity of running to be your next SGA president. Over the last week, my team and I have met so many of y'all, listened to the feedback and the ideas that you have, and which I think is very important for us carrying into these positions. Yes, we have platforms and we have goals, but overall we want to continue to listen to you, and that's what we've done this week as a team. Over the last week, we've tried to tackle student success, student transportation, student safety, student dining, and overall the student experience. So this week, I hope that you join in with me and be one with Jones.
All right, this time we'll begin with questions, and as a reminder, you have 1 minute and 30 seconds. So this first question is for Daniel. How will you create a culture on campus that fosters inclusivity and encourages students to bring their concerns and comments to SGA?
Perfect. Thank you for asking that question, President Locke. So as you guys know, one of my main platform points is inclusion and diversity throughout campus. This is the heartbeat of my platform. This is why I'm standing up here before you guys today. So I really want to be able to increase the Auburn family, because I do realize not all students feel like they're part of the Auburn family. Not everybody looks like I do, and I do realize that. So a couple weeks back, there was an event with BSU and SGA. That we collaborated and had critical conversations. In my opinion, that's not something that's just cool that SGA did. That's a necessity for SGA. That's a necessity for our student body. We need to continue these events in collaboration with BSU, ISO, Spectrum, the Eagles program, any other organization on campus that would be able to collaborate well with SGA. So collaboration is what my main goal with inclusion and diversity on campuses.
Thank you, Daniel, and I completely agree. I think that collaboration is the heartbeat of SGA. And beyond that, I think listening to students. And listening to students, not just to hear what they're saying and to say that the student government is listening, but listening to hear and to understand the differences of all students. And I think that the perspectives and the diversity of thought from students is what really is so important about the student government. So having those individuals at the table and going a step further with Auburn Answers, and by having tangible ways of letting students see the direct impact that the student government is making every single day. So I want to work specifically through these platform points for this opportunity to be for all students. So for instance, with innovation, to have one centralized app that has the accessibility for all students to know what is going on campus. And whenever we empower them to know what is happening, that is when they can become involved and then have their voice heard. Thank you.
So one of the main points that me and my team have been expressing to the organizations that visited this week is starting an open table conversation with leaders of organizations across this university. I think that's very important. SGA does represent the student body, but we don't always know and understand what another organization or what another student needs. So we wanted to have this roundtable conversation so that we would be able to come to these different organizations, listen to what they have, as well as we want to open up an opportunity for students to come and meet with an exec member. We currently have an Auburn Answers platform, but I think it's vital that we continue to expand that by letting them come and speak to us and let us figure out how we can handle the situation and then take these to the different roundtable discussions and figure out how we can unite underneath one voice and solve that issue.
Thank you. All right, this next question is from Mary Margaret. At times, students' desires and practicality don't always match. Share with us a time that you have had to be a mediator for entities with opposing ideas, and whether you were successful or not.
Thank you. So my experience in the Student Government Association began as the Director of City Relations, and I really enjoyed this opportunity to serve in this way and get to know city officials such as the mayor, Mayor Ham. We started a great event called Hamburgers with Mayor Ham, where we really encourage students to be engaged civically. And I think that this is a really important thing for students to understand while they're at Auburn now. But a specific time whenever students and administration, and specifically city officials disagreed, is there was a housing crisis where students were evicted from their homes, and it was then my job as the Director of City Relations to advocate on their behalf. And we were successful in this. We were able to work specifically with the city and implement a policy where students understood the different zoning areas, and then were able to have the opportunity to not be evicted immediately, which was a great success, I believe, in SGA and in our collaboration with the city. So that is another target of mine this year, is to continue that collaboration with the city by working feasibly and being proactive, to have students have roundtable discussions with city administrators starting now, so that way we understand what's going on with the city and with the decisions that are being made, and we can be a part of those. Thank you.
Over the past year, I've had the opportunity of serving as the Assistant Vice President of Campus Life. And a couple weeks ago, we conducted a town hall of dining, and there were a lot of questions and concerns that were brought to us through Auburn Answers, as well as individual emails that were sent to us. And I was able to sit down with one of the students and talk to them about their concerns with our current dining vendor, and explain to them the issues and the struggles that we were going through, but as well as the bright future that we had ahead of us. And so yes, I have the opportunity to sit down with the city, and Mary kills it with that role, and she was incredible during that crisis. It was a struggle. But through those conversations, I think it's very vital for us to just sit down and explain it and put it into words and make other students understand the issues that we were going through. Great.
This past year, I have had the incredible opportunity to serve as the President Pro Tem of the Student Senate. What that means is that there is a meeting once every week called Senate Exec, where I meet with all the committee chairs of all the committees in Senate, so ranging from student affairs to code of laws. And you know, being the mediator in this meeting, I do not have a vote in these meetings. So Senator Zenner, sometimes, we would have, and many other senators as well, would bring up controversial bills that would make people freak out sometimes, you know. So I would see people around the table, you know, struggle to find reasoning behind certain initiatives and things like that. But serving as a mediator in this situation helped me grow incredibly throughout this entire process, you know, because you need to learn when to tell a group of people, hey, we need to save this for discussion on the floor, and, you know, we need to work this out, you know, in actual Senate as opposed to, you know, just getting the brief overviews across for Senate Exec.
Next question's for you. What area of SGA is the most in need of growth to better serve students, and what will you do to ensure that this growth happens?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the part of SGA that needs to expand is our outreach branch, and make sure that we are more available to the different organizations and the students around our campus. We've had a great opportunity this year to reach out to more organizations. Like I stated earlier, making sure that we increase the opportunities for those organizations to come to us and explain their needs so that we can continue to advocate for them, bring up new ideas, as well as just have a simple conversation. I'm looking forward to that no matter what. I've met with several organizations over the last week and the last month and listened to their needs, as well as their ideas for the future. And I look forward to continuing to do that no matter how this election turns out at the end of the week.
One thing I always like to point out is that Auburn is a growing campus. When I was a freshman here, we had 28,000 students, and now we're currently at 30,440. That being said, our campus is growing, and you know, our campus is getting wider, and buildings are getting farther away from each other. So, in my platform, one of my main initiatives is efficiency throughout campus. So, you know, outreach regarding efficiency. So, what I would love to see, you know, with the transit routes, I'd love to use our supply chain program to help, you know, revamp our transit routes throughout campus. You know, I would love signs for transit routes as well, because a lot of people don't know how to use the app, including myself sometimes. So I really feel like these sort of things are transportation throughout campus and making it easier for students to get from building to building. That would help enhance the student experience as a whole.
So I'm going to go off both of these specific points and agree that outreach is SGA's branch that we can improve upon the most. We've made great strides in the past administration. I really enjoyed the fall feast that targeted specific areas of campus that we haven't been able to reach before. And it was a great collaboration between many organizations. But specifically what I want to work on is transparency in that communication. And I think that one specific way we can do this is by putting out a bi-weekly podcast that focuses on student experiences. And I think that through an organization that I've had the opportunity to serve in over the past 2 years, Lobby Board, I've had the great honor of understanding differences of opinions. And I think that understanding is the most important thing. And in these situations, we all come out better because we know why the other is thinking that way. So I think that having
Absolutely. The first part of my platform, inclusion and diversity, the heartbeat of what I stand for. This is the most tangible because we can reach out to groups. There are physical ways we can actually reach out to people who don't look like us. This past week, I had the opportunity to meet with leaders of the Chinese Student Organization, the Latino Student Association, and many more, just so I can hear diverse opinions and diverse ways of thinking. So this section of the platform is the most tangible, in my opinion, because we can physically reach out to these groups, and we can really work on utilizing SGA to promote these different organizations. Because I feel like regarding inclusion and diversity, it would be incredible if we could get SGA members to go celebrate Chinese New Year or Holi at the end of March for the Indian Student Association, or even Diwali in November. We have so many different options that we can reach out throughout campus. So people all over the world, we have an incredible campus, and we should be honored that international students throughout the world chose Auburn out of anywhere in the United States. So reaching out to these groups and being able to collaborate and really promote these events through SGA, using SGA's resources.
Initiatives that I've already been working towards with administrators and that would be able to feasibly be accomplished this semester. So two specifically that I'm very passionate about and would like to see happen this semester are having golf cart rides to the Med Clinic from Central Campus for students who are sick and unable to make that walk. So I've already had conversations with Dr. Cam and the Med Clinic staff to make this happen, and I'm really excited about this because it really does open up accessibility to all students. So beyond the accessibility with the golf cart rides, I would also like to implement an option for students to donate unused dining dollars to students at Auburn University that are facing food insecurity. Currently, according to a Plainsman article, almost 30% of students at Auburn University are food insecure, and the dining dollars that students on campus and off campus are buying every single semester could be used to go and feed those students. Thank you.
Yeah, I think the part of our platform that I think is most tangible and that one that I want to accomplish first is increasing the transparency of SGA. An idea that was brought up to me by some of the people on my team was a website that will allow us to see the progress percentage of the different goals and initiatives that we've set as an SGA. And this would look like logging on to SGA's website and clicking on a tab and seeing those different ideas and being able to see live percentages as well as feedback in the different stages of the part of solving those issues that we're currently in, whether it's completed or dead end. That way that people understand where we currently are as an SGA and they can have faith in us and hope that we continue the platform forms that we're all here promising.
All right, this next question is from Mary Margaret. How do you define leadership, and how will you exemplify that definition through this role?
I think that serving as a leader, as the student government president, the most important thing is to listen. And as we listen, I think that is whenever we will be able to be the most effective leaders, because we will be able to advocate for things that students actually care about. And so I spoke a little bit about my role in the student government as the director of city relations before, and serving as a leader of the student voice in that setting, and working with officials who did not go to Auburn University. That's whenever I really understood what it means to listen and then advocate to people who might not understand, and actually implementing change based on what students want. So we can promise all of these initiatives, but I think at the end of the day, it has to be backed by what students care about. And so that's why dining specifically is something that I'm really, really excited about, because we have more Auburn answers based on dining than anything else. And so when you look at what students actually want, which is Mexican, Italian, and all-day breakfast food, that is what we specifically want to target. And that is what we want to be able to bring. So I think taking a step back and looking holistically at what students desire and what can change their Auburn University experience, these are really cool 4 years, and we just want to make these the best 4 years they can be.
So I believe that a leader is someone who is, like Mary Margaret said, quick to listen but slow to speak. And I think it's very vital being the president of this university and the SGA. you have to work tirelessly for the betterment of Auburn. And it's not always an idea that you're going to truly believe in, but it's what the majority of students believe in. And being able to carry those ideas to the administration, as well as have a passion to serve. And I know the other two candidates do as well, and that's something that all of y'all can go home tonight and rest easy knowing that the future of Auburn is left in good hands no matter what.
To answer this question, I want to go off of the theme of connection. Being able to connect with people. A leader, a good leader, in my opinion, is someone who is able to speak to the president of Spectrum, the Auburn Gay and Lesbian Association, and then 30 minutes later be able to speak to the average fraternity guy. Two completely different people, but they're still able to connect in the same way. Connection is important. Connection, being able to connect with the student body, people from everywhere around the world, as I mentioned before. This is very important that the leader of the SGA and Auburn, essentially, if I can speak, goodness. It's all about connection. That's what leadership is to me, and that's what influential leaders have taught me over my time. So I love being able to connect with people and being able to connect with people of all different backgrounds. That's what's most important in this situation.
These last questions for you. What do you think is the most pressing issue facing the student body, and how do you plan to deal with this issue?
Absolutely. I think the most pressing issue we have currently is uniting the student voice and making sure that we have those voices heard. I met with some administrators, and they felt like over the last few years, the student voice has been lost, and that the drive behind student leaders has been lost as well. And so I hope that over the next year, if I'm your next SGA president, as well as the other two candidates, that we continue to take those ideas and unite the student voice so we can carry out each and every one of y'all's thoughts and ideas to the administration, and that we don't lose sight at the fact at the end of the day that we are here as students and that the administration is here to serve the student body, and I think that our needs need to be met at that first.
The most pressing issue to the Auburn student body actually came from an experience of mine. This past summer, I had the incredible opportunity to work in Washington, D.C. For Representative Jim Cooper, also there in D.C. as well. And the most pressing issue is I had a friend that I made there, and her name is Aaliyah, and she goes to Agnes Scott in Georgia. She's an African-American girl. And she said that she wouldn't even want to visit Auburn because she wouldn't feel welcome here, which is egregious to me. People don't even want to come here because they don't feel like they will be welcome. And that's what I want to do. That's what I want to fix things internally. As SGA president, set the tone for years to come. I want to be able to have a diverse cabinet. I want to have many different initiatives that promote, inclusivity and letting people be welcome here. That's what the most pressing issue is, in my opinion.
As well as equity in the student government as well as the student body is so important. And that is why I've made great strides to make sure that every single platform point is feasible and accessible to all students. So that way every single student can be unified in what their experience is. And that's one really unique thing that connects all of us. And really the reason we're all here, which is to be prepared to go out and for our next steps. So I think that advocating for Auburn to be on the cutting edge of innovation and to be able to empower their students with the tools and foundations that they need to be successful during these 4 years, but also beyond. I want students to have the availability to get the internships and the jobs that are going to give them the power to be citizens in their community and to get those jobs and take Auburn to that next level beyond college.
All right, you each will have 1 minute for your closing statements, starting with Daniel Cannon.
So I chose the word climb in my slogan for many reasons. The first of which being, I wanted to do the mountain theme that really helped with, everything that's going on. So I really like that verb. But more importantly, I realized, that no matter what happens next year will be a challenge. Climbing is not an easy hobby. It's actually for people who are really in shape. Obviously we have some work to do. But, my administration next year, on a more serious note, will strive to create an equitable body of students We will strive to make it easier to get from point A to point B on campus. And we will strive to make SGA collaborative, both internally and externally. We need to make attainable initiatives that can be achieved to better the Auburn family as a whole. Thank you guys for your time tonight, and hopefully tomorrow you'll climb with Gallon. Thank you.
Tonight, you've heard big ideas from the three of us, as well as all of the candidates, and I truly do thank you for your commitment to Auburn University and the future of SGA. I hope that my platform resonates with your personal Auburn experience, but more than that, I hope that you recognize my heart for Auburn University and its student body. Auburn men and women are self-made and self-motivated. Through their innovation, traditions, and diversity, our students are uniquely poised to make an impact and solve problems in our campus, community, and the nation. I hope that you'll join me, Mary Margaret Turton, in targeting campus life, innovation, and wellness to make Auburn the best experience that it can be together. We're able.
I want to thank each and every one of you all for coming out today and supporting candidates. I know everybody stayed all night long, but it really does mean so much to us for us to see our shirts and familiar faces on every single team out here. But at the end of the day, guys, I hope that you don't look at necessarily the platform, which is very important, but you see the passion and the drive behind the candidate. Once an exec is formed and a student government association is formed for next year, all these ideas will come together. But I want you to see that passion and that drive behind the candidate. And so I hope that you join my team tomorrow as we are on the Jones.
Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our debate for tonight. Please give them one more round of applause. On behalf of SGA Elections, I want to thank the crowd here. I also want to thank Eagle Eye for live streaming this. So please be sure to be engaged tomorrow and vote from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Have a good night.